management, and advertisers.
It's time for the most interactive radio program in Las Vegas today. It's time for Pushing the Limits with Brian Shapiro. Brian will talk sports, politics, entertainment, and anything that matters to you. Feel free to call Brian at 702-221-7283.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Now, Pushing the Limits, here's Brian Shapiro.
What's up, everybody? It is Pushing the Limits. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Thanks for joining us. Good to be here. Good to be back. Got a lot to get off my chest today, you know? Maybe my chest isn't as large as Orange Turd, but I do have a lot to get off of my chest. Welcome to the show. We have a lot to get to today. If you might be listening on the FM AM dial KSHP, the Occupy Democrats Network, the Washington Press Network, we're on YouTube, we're on TikTok, we're on Twitch, we're on X, we're everywhere. And we appreciate you being a part of what we do today. We have former presidential candidate, former Chicago congressman, and a paid contributor to CNN, Love Joe Walsh. He's going to be joining us at the bottom of the hour. We are going to be giving you nonstop, front-to-back coverage of what to expect in this debate on Thursday. That's what this show is going to be about this week, and we're going to do the best we can to bring you that. People on the Trump side, they're now taking the playbook to what drugs is Joe Biden going to be on in this debate. We're going to talk a little bit about that later on in the show. The dude who's banging Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, I don't. That's how his name is Brian Glenn. He used to work for Newsmax. I guess they didn't re-sign him. My friend Adam Mockler ran into him, and the interview didn't go so well for Brian Glenn. We're going to play that later on in the show. Lauren Boebert talking about the 10 Commandments and thou shalt not steal when her son is facing dozens of felony counts. We'll talk about that. We have a lot to get to today, and the guy joining us in studio, you may have heard his name, particularly if you live here in Las Vegas. He's been on the radio airwaves for decades. He is a proud Democrat, and I said, Nick, why don't you come in studio? Let's talk a little bit about previewing this debate. My friend, and he also does the intros for my show. We got some new intros coming, I was told. My good friend, Nick Bonsanto, joining us in studio. Nick, it's good to see you.
Hey, great to see you, Brian. You mentioned, though, your chest was a little flatter. And I'm going to say you could have gone, if maybe surfboard, that would work for you. I'm okay with that. But
well, Nick, I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing I'm not going to do. Brag about my body the way Donald Trump did over the weekend. We have audio to play for you.
I mean, he looks like a Big Mac with too much sauce coming out of the side.
He really does. He'll be eating a lot of those Big Macs behind bars. But, you know, Nick, thanks for being here, by the way.
So, no problem. I do appreciate you inviting me.
Of course. It's been a while since you've been here. I appreciate you being here. So if you remember, before the State of the Union address, Nick, all the Trumpers out there in the MAGAs and most Republicans were saying he's not going to be able to stand up for 90 minutes. He's going to bumble all over his words. And then what happened? I think most people, even on the right, would admit Joe Biden overperformed. His State of the Union was a very good one. He ad-libbed at times. So then what happened? The Republicans were freaking out, and they were trying to come up with excuses. Well, they must have drugged him, right? He must have been on drugs. Even though no one doctor on the planet could come up with a magical drug that would have allowed Joe Biden to do what he did, right? So now, Nick, what are they doing? What are they doing now, Nick? We have a big debate on Thursday. And instead of doing what they did last time, because they were taught a lesson on, lowering the bar for Joe Biden, they know that's not going to work. Nope. So what are they doing now? Well, Nick, I want to play you a little bit of audio.
Okay, what are they doing?
Well, this is what Donald Trump said over the weekend. Oh. And he is talking a little bit about the upcoming debate, which is on Thursday. And they're kind of getting you ready for the debate. So this is Donald Trump talking about the debate over the weekend and what to expect from Joe Biden. Listen to what he says.
Like this is probably what's going on over this week at Camp David. He's going to be at Camp David for a full.
No, that's Ronnie Jackson. That's Ronnie Jackson. We got the wrong. We want cut one. Nope, we want. Okay, so that was cut two. That was Ronnie Jackson. Do we have cut one ready to go? Okay, hold on. We got to give Justin a second here.
That's okay.
We'll get to cut two because that was Ronnie Jackson. But cut one is Donald Trump talking about. And he's literally talking about Joe Biden getting a shot in the ass. That's the cut that we wanted to play. Now we can play. Whoops. Hold on. We're playing. I don't know what that was. Okay, let's go back and we'll play cut two. Okay, you want to play cut one? All right, we can play cut one. All right, so this should be Donald Trump talking about Joe Biden getting a shot in the ass. Now, if it's not, then we could go to, okay, that's bizarre. Okay, so we'll go to cut 2. That's all right. Okay,
That's all right.
So basically what Donald Trump said is he said that Joe Biden's getting a shot in the ass, and that's what's going to happen before the debate on Thursday.
Well, he probably had a shot in the ass to deal with Stormy Daniels just to get himself prepared when he had her. I mean, no. I mean, he's probably used to it. I mean, listen, let's be honest. All right, I'm a 60-year-old man, okay? Sometimes in my life, in my 50s, yes, I've had a testosterone shot in my ass to try to help my metabolism. I don't know if that's awful. Okay, but him saying the only way he's going to get through it is with a shot in his ass is because he's a horse's ass.
Well, he is.
Okay, and he has no clue. I mean, this guy just doesn't get it. But, on a serious note, though, I mean, there are adult men that try to increase their testosterone level. So I wouldn't be ashamed if he took a shot in the ass.
I wouldn't be either. So I have an apology for our producer.
You do?
I'm the one who made the mistake.
Well,
my apologies.
Sometimes the hat's too tight.
Sometimes I'm wound too tight,
That's
and
okay.
My apologies, Numchuck. That was my fault. Absolutely not your fault. 100% on B-Shap. My apologies. Let's go to cut 2 first. Again, I apologize to people every day, right? I'm thinking, did Numchuck make a mistake? No, B-Shap made a mistake.
But that's the difference between you and the MAGA cult. They never apologize.
I admit when I'm wrong, right? If I was Mark Levin, Mr. Producer, what are you doing over there, Mr. Producer? You liberal, what are you doing over there, Mr. Producer?
Well, that's a good Shapiro impersonation.
Are you a liberal, Mr. Producer? You
Levin, I meant to say.
You despicable turd, you. Not you, Nick.
All
right. By the way, you're like 4 times the size of Mark Levin. You would beat his ass.
Well, I used to have to listen to Mark Levin's show while I worked at that other place that will remain nameless.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So here is Donald Trump talking about Joe Biden's ass, cut 2.
Because they want to get him good and strong. So a little before debate time, he gets a shot in the ass, and they want to strengthen him up. So he comes out. He'll come out. I say he'll come out all jacked up, right? All jacked up.
Speaking of all jacked up, what is this dance that Donald Trump does? Speaking of getting jacked up, it looks like he's performing sexual favors to 2 men. Like, I don't understand. Yeah, like, what is that?
He has a lot of practice doing that on himself.
Maybe. I don't know.
Where do you get
that?
that?
I don't think, unless he's paying people $130,000, I don't know if he can afford it. But like, Nick, what is this dance that he's doing? What is this?
Listen, I know he's such an easy target to make fun of. Let's just be honest. He really is. I mean, if the circus were coming to town, he wouldn't need makeup. He's the clown. There would be no problem. But, I don't know what the dance is. All I know is the guy is just a fool. He's a narcissistic clown. I guess clown's the right word. I don't know what it is.
That's like a diss on clowns, though. I mean,
that's true because clowns are supposed to be fun.
Yeah. Anyway, he's saying that, they're probably going to give him a shot in the butt. And then you have Ronnie Jackson. Donald Trump calls him Ronnie Johnson, right?
Ronnie Johnson.
I put up a clip today calling him Ronnie Johnson as a joke. And be like, did you forget his name?
Is that like Artie Johnson?
Yeah. So Ronnie Jackson is a guy who was a lush, who was people under oath have said that he would go into the White House and he'd pass people pills and he'd show up drunk and he would be sexually, harassing some women there. So listen to what Ronnie Jackson said on Fox News over the weekend.
I feel like this is probably what's going on over this week at Camp David. He's going to be at Camp David for a full week before the debate. Part of that is probably experimenting with, just getting the doses just right because, they have to treat his cognition. They have to give him something to help him think straighter. They have to give him something to wake him up, for his alertness. And then, he's been agitated. We see that all the time, and that's a common symptom or sign of this cognitive disorder that he seems to be suffering from. And so they're probably going to give him something to take the edge off that as well. They didn't get it right just last time at the State of the Union. He came out, he was obviously much more alert, but he was a yelling, angry old man, and he still didn't make a lot of sense. So I think they've got an uphill battle here, but I think that they're going to have to do something to try to wake him up and make him perform a little better during the debate. And I don't.
Yeah, they're going to try to do something to make him feel better during the debate, Nick.
Hey, Ronnie, let me say this to you, okay? Here's the deal, pal. If there was a magic pill that you could take over a 7-day period in Camp David, that there was this halo around Camp David, and there was a magic pill or a set of shots that would make you smarter, more coherent, make you able to perform better, I could tell you that every older man in America would take the shot. It doesn't exist, my friend. You're grasping at straws, trying to find anything that you can do or say to make your guy feel better. It's a joke because, forget that I'm being kind of, a little facetious with this, but come on, people. If that were really true, don't you think that there'd be a lot of uses for that other than just our current president at Camp David preparing for a debate with a felon,
34 count,
a financially, a sexual offender through a civil trial? I mean, come on, people. Are you really that stupid?
Yes.
Are they really that stupid?
Yes. And here's the thing, right? Donald Trump is the one who admitted, or I should say agreed, to doing this CNN debate. Yet all of his surrogates, all over social media, all over the networks, are whining and complaining that CNN is hosting the debate. Yet he's the one who agreed to it. So he's doing exactly what he's done before the 2016 election, before the 2020 election, and before November. He's trying to prepare people in case he loses. He tries to, prepare people in case he loses, the election, because he can't lose. He can't admit to losing anything. And now he's trying to prepare people in case he loses the debate or in case Joe Biden overperforms. And what are they doing? They're claiming that he's on drugs with absolutely zero evidence, just like zero evidence of widespread voter fraud that could have changed the outcome of a free and fair election. They're doing the exact same thing. And this guy, Jackson, is an actual doctor who does not, he's never given Joe Biden a physical. He has no idea if Joe Biden's on anything, no clue. But he's taking a talk. By the way, Donald Trump doesn't even know your name, okay? Why don't you talk about what drugs Donald Trump might be on? And while all this is going on, Nick, I don't mean to make you vomit in your mouth here, and I know it's lunch hour for everybody, and I'm not going to share the picture that's circulating on social media. It might not be real. It's a picture of Donald Trump getting spray painted, on his face and appears to be naked. It might not be a real photo, but Donald Trump did talk about his body over the weekend. I want you to have a listen.
If there's anyone in America that shouldn't talk about their body,
because if there's anybody that would be on the front of Fitness Magazine, it would definitely be Orange Turd. This is Donald Trump. You cannot make this stuff up. But he's talking about going into a pool and he's talking about his body. Have a listen to this.
And I have the wounds all over my body. If I took this shirt off, you'd see a beautiful, beautiful person.
They're
But
laughing
you'd see
at him.
wounds all over me. I've taken a lot of wounds, I can tell you. More than I suspect any president ever.
You mean any draft dodger?
What wounds? Melania like kicking him with her heels? Like I don't understand. Like what is he talking about?
I bet if he got a really good enough tan, not an orange tan, but like a golden tan, he'd look like a poop emoji.
I mean, is this for real? Is he really bragging about his body?
I mean, come on.
Even his own supporters are laughing at him.
I mean, his picture has to be next to narcissist in the dictionary, doesn't it? I mean, isn't it just all him?
It really is mesmerizing.
It really is. It's just,
yeah.
Now, and Brian, I just want to share, let me share one thing with you that I don't know if I ever told you about this, but over the years in my career, I have interviewed Donald Trump. Back in my sports days, before he was in politics.
Right.
And I've interviewed and spoken with Joe Biden. I have interviewed Clinton. I have interviewed Bush over the years. He's by far the biggest idiot I've ever interviewed. He didn't care. He was awful. He didn't want, he couldn't even remember my name in the interview. Everyone else, absolutely. And I don't care if it came from a publicist or whoever. He didn't care. He didn't care. And some things never change. Let's just say that. And, everybody says, well, you don't know. Well, yes, I have interviewed him, actually.
Yep.
and he was bad before he was a politician.
Doesn't surprise me. That story
Gotten worse.
That story doesn't surprise me one bit.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Before we take a break, I want to get your thoughts on the upcoming debate, and I want to give you mine real quickly. So,
Go
Nick,
for it.
here's what I think is going to happen. And by the way, my opinions have nothing to do with either person up there on the debate stage that could be on drugs or anything like that, because I'm not making statements like that. They are, the MAGA right. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think this debate is the perfect scenario for Joe Biden. Why do I say this? First of all, the microphones are going to be turned off, which is a brilliant. I think it's a brilliant thing that CNN is doing, because you don't want people to interrupt one another, and it's annoying, and you want people to finish their statement, and you want everyone to get equal time. I say that for Donald Trump as well, but Joe Biden's not going to be doing any interrupting. Donald Trump is going to be attempting to, but you won't be able to hear him because his microphone's going to be turned off. So that's advantage Joe Biden. Huge advantage to Joe Biden. That's number one. Number two, I also think it's an advantage to Joe Biden that there's not going to be a live audience there. Why do I say that's an advantage? Because I would like to think that most Joe Biden supporters that would be in the crowd are not going to be screaming and yelling as much as some of the MAGA Trumpsters will. And I also understand, and I think most people would understand the fact that Joe Biden has been doing this for a long time. He's an intelligent man. He's been in the game a long time. He's run for office 14, 15, 16 times, right? Multiple times, for president, vice president. And he's been there before. So I think that Joe Biden is going to do just fine. Now, am I saying that Joe Biden is going to wipe the floor clean? Is Joe Biden, going to win in a landslide, as some Trumpers would use? I don't know if I could speak to that. Joe Biden does not have to win this debate. Here's what he has to do. He has to prove to those people that are still on the fence, and maybe even some moderate Republicans that will not be voting for Trump, but they're not willing yet to say they're voting for Joe Biden. He just needs to prove to them that he's competent, that he can do the job for another 4 years. Doesn't have to even win the debate. Just prove that you're competent. You can stand up there and go toe-to-toe. That's really all Joe Biden has to do. I believe that he will do that, and he will overperform like he did in the State of the Union address, and I do believe that Joe Biden will do just fine. And that's really, in my opinion, all he needs to do. Nick, what do you say to that?
Well, first off, I like your thoughts. I think they're accurate. I do. I'm going to tell you, I envision, microphone off or not, I envision him screaming from the other side of the podium.
That's an interesting point.
I really do believe that. I believe they talk about, Joe's getting shots. I believe Donald is getting shouting lessons about now. No, and I'm saying it like tongue in cheek, but I'm not. It's something I could see happen. Okay, I'm just telling you, it's something I could see happening. I do like that the mics will be off. But trust me, here's the one thing I like about that, though. I believe you will visibly see Donald shaken when his mic gets turned off and he wants to keep going. I believe you will see the orange turn beet red and he's going to explode.
Probably.
No, I'm serious. I really believe that because I've thought about the...
All right, question on that. Do you think he will explode faster than the 20 seconds he was with Stormy Daniels? Sorry, but I had to do it.
I like that, actually. I like that. I think it will take as long as it takes him to eat a Big Mac with one of the football teams he brought to the White House.
Which isn't very long.
Okay, anyway. So I do think that's something I want to watch because I don't know.
It's a good point. He's so stupid. The mic's off. He still might be yelling.
He's still going to go. And there are still mics that will be live within shouting distance. So I want you to think about that.
It's possible. I think you're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that everybody is maybe glossing over that because they'll be off.
Yeah.
Okay. Because he'll shout when he needs to shout. And he's proven that. Now, I do think, as you said, I think Joe just needs to be there, show he's coherent. So as the MAGA cult shouts how, he can't put a sentence together, how he can't do this and he can't do that. Okay, they're going to blame it on these quote unquote shots they're telling you he's getting, but that's baloney. I think he needs to do that. But I'm going to say something about one thing you said, and I believe this, all right? I believe that at the moment, the polls are off. I believe that Joe leads Trump by more than what polls are showing, because I believe that longtime Republicans who are that middle of the road Republican who have had enough of him aren't publicly saying they aren't going to vote for him because they don't want to cause an infighting within their own ranks, and they're staying quiet. And I believe when push comes to shove, they're going to pull the lever for Joe and not Donald. Let's not forget how many votes he lost by last time, before he was a convicted felon, before the January 6th issues, before the civil cases that proved he was a sexual predator.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I maybe I'm naive, but I have to believe that there are a lot of good Republicans still out there.
There are some.
That there are some still out there.
Amy Tarkanian's one of them.
Okay. And I believe some of them are out there and might not be shouting it.
Here's what I think.
In a closed booth, they're going to pull the lever.
You took the words right out of my mouth. That's exactly what I was just going to say. There are a lot of Republicans out there that are too afraid publicly. That, they're not the Jeff Duncans, or the Joe Walshes, who's coming up here, by the way, in a couple minutes. They're not the Adam Kinzingers or the Liz Cheneys or the Mitt Romneys or the Amy Tarkanians. They're not willing publicly. They're certainly not willing publicly to admit that they're not going to be voting for Trump. They're definitely not willing to say publicly that they're voting for Joe Biden. But I agree with you, Nick. I think in November, at least if you asked me right now, the debate Thursday is going to have a lot to do with it. But if you ask me right now, there's a lot of Republicans out there that are quietly either not going to be going to the voting booth in November or go to the voter booth to be an anti-Donald Trump vote. Listen, we know he still has his base. They're not the silent or the silent majority, as they like to call them. They're the loud minority, okay, of people that I can shoot you on Fifth Avenue and they're still going to vote for me.
Yeah.
Okay. That is why I call it a cult, and that is why I compared his rallies to Klan cults, because 99% white. I saw the Confederate flag there. I'm not saying everybody is a racist that supports Trump or everybody that goes to a rally is a racist, but I am saying there is a contingency of those people when they hear "Make America Great Again." What they really mean is "Make America White again." They don't want brown people in this country. They claim, we just don't want illegals in this country. No, you don't want brown people in this country, period. And, the Charlie Kirks of the world, per se. And that's just the bottom line here. Here's what we're going to do, Nick. Okay. We're going to take a quick break. We got Nick Monsanto co-hosting with me today. I appreciate him being here. And when we come back, he is a former presidential candidate. He's a former Chicago congressman. He is also a former MAGA, super MAGA Trump supporter. The great Joe Walsh will be joining us next. He's now a CNN contributor. I'm going to ask him what he wants to see from Joe Biden on Thursday and what he expects to see. Two completely different questions. So Nick and myself will be back here in just a few. I also want to remind people to please check out my new website, which is pushingthelimits.live. Again, that's pushingthelimits.live. If you love the show, you enjoy it, you watch it every day, and we appreciate you. Support what I do. Check out the website. Sign up free for the newsletter. We got some merchandise up there, donation button, everything. Check it out.
Where's my merch?
Well, you can buy the Don't Be a Right-Wing Buffoon shirt. We are going to be having some new shirts up there, by the way, in the next week. And one of the shirts that we're designing, I'll just let that cat out of the bag right now. It says, "Don't be a buffoon." And it's a picture of Donald Trump in his orange makeup, and next to it, a picture of an orangutan. So that's what, that's one of the pictures. Another picture we're considering, and we don't know if we're going to do this yet or not, be a part of the Klan cult, because that seems to trigger a lot of Trumpers. And maybe if we could find a picture of Fred Trump hanging out with the Klan, maybe a picture here, and then a picture of Donald Trump. We'll figure something like that out. But we're going to have some new pictures up there on the website coming up in just a few. Joe Walsh, the former presidential candidate himself, will be joining us. Be back in 90 seconds. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Have you ever dreamed of having your own radio show or a podcast, but just didn't think it was possible? Well, dreams can come true. Radio U. Radio U is a 5-day course that'll teach you how to acquire your dream show. We'll teach you how to host, how to write commercial, how to interview, how to market, how to write a contract, and most importantly, how to monetize your dream radio show. You'll learn from some of the best in the business with over 75 years in broadcast experience. You'll learn from people like me. And the best part, every single student will be live on the radio as part of the class. Plus, one student from each class will get their very own radio show. You'll be live on the air right here in Las Vegas. Radio U. The 5-day course is being offered at $699. For more information, give Radio U a call. 702-763-5024. That's 702-763-5024. Or check them out at RadioYou101.com.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Tired of the same old date night? Craving a deeper connection with your partner? O-Box is your escape into a world of romance and passion. Each month, discover a box filled with personalized surprises, exciting activities, and a love story written just for the two of you. Ignite desire, share laughter, and make memories that last a lifetime. Your O-Box journey culminates into a beautiful love novel. Ready to write the first thrilling chapter? Let the O-Box adventure begin. Visit our website, obox.com. That's OBOXXX.com and get started.
All right, welcome back. It's Pushing the Limits on a Monday. Thank you so much for joining us. We have some very special guests coming on throughout the rest of the week to kind of give us a preview of what to expect. Even some Trump surrogates will be joining us. So that should be interesting. But I think it's fair to say maybe the most anticipated presidential debate maybe in the history of our country, certainly in my lifetime. And it's a big one. There's no question about that. And I'd like to hear from different sides, what they want, what they don't want. And, well, of course, the guy joining us on the line right now, I have a tremendous amount of respect for. A friend of the show, a former presidential candidate, former Chicago congressman. Man, he just does such a great job on CNN as a contributor. Joe Walsh joining us right now from White Flag with Joe Walsh. Great podcast, by the way. Joe, always a pleasure, my friend. How are you?
Oh, I'm just your favorite Trump surrogate. Admit it. Come on.
I tell you, I think Joe has a future in stand-up comedy. I really do. Political stand-up satire. Joe, always a pleasure, though, in all seriousness, having you on. Really appreciate you. So you're going to be on CNN a lot this week, I'm sure. I guess my first question would be, what do you expect is going to happen in this debate? What do you want to happen, and what do you expect will happen from both sides?
I expect it not to be what most people think. I expect Biden to do what he needs to do. I expect Trump to be Trump. I don't expect anything out of the ordinary. Joe Biden has a lot more riding on this debate than Donald Trump does. Everybody knows who Trump is. He's an utter asswipe. I think I can say that on the radio.
Yes, you can.
And it's up to America. It's up to America to decide if they want that thing back in the White House. Everybody knows who Trump is. Joe Biden has to prove something. And if he can't prove it, he's going to lose to Trump. Biden has to prove he's not too old and he's up to the job. Period.
Agree. I agree 100%.
So he's got to do that. He's got to do that, kicking it off in this debate.
And I think he will. So do you agree with me, Joe, that when you have Donald Trump and even Ronnie Jackson, or as Trump calls him, Ronnie Johnson, saying that he's going to get a shot in the ass, he's going to be drugged up, it's the same as when Trump says before an election, it's rigged, the Democrats are going to cheat. They're trying to prepare you for, if Joe Biden overachieves, it must have been because he was drugged up and he cheated.
Well, but like, you're right. But it's like they did this to themselves again. Like, what have they been saying for weeks and months? And it feels like years, that Biden is senile. And he literally doesn't know where he is any moment of any day. Now, if you've been saying that every day and along comes Joe Biden and he shows up for a debate, my God, if he stands there for an hour and a half and sounds fairly together, how are you going to explain that? So it's been interesting. You're right. They've been spending the past week talking about what a great debater Joe Biden is.
Joe, Nick Bonsanto here with Brian today. Let me ask you this. I know that the right has been selling, the issues with Joe, that he's not capable. But what makes you believe that he has to show anything more than he's already shown? Because listen, his State of the Union, in my estimation, was one of the best State of the Union addresses we've seen in the last probably 20 years, in my honest opinion. And that's not because I'm a Joe fan. I just truly believe it. What can he do that's going to truly change any MAGA supporter that he will be better? I don't think I quite believe it the same way as you, because he can't win them over, can he?
Well, you're right. He's not going to win any MAGA over. But here's the deal. I think there are a hell of a lot more undecided people in this country than all the experts tell us. Biden's got his base. Trump's got MAGA. But there's a whole swath of people in between who believe Trump is a horrible guy, but, Biden just looks and sounds old. What am I going to do? I'm telling you, there's a lot of indecision in the middle. And again, Trump's not going to change who he is. He's a horrible human being. So Biden's the one that's got to do something to kind of clinch the deal. And Obama can't do it for him. George Clooney, Jimmy Kimmel can't do it for him. It's got to be Joe Biden himself showing the American people every chance he's got that he's up to this thing. And I don't think he's sealed the deal yet. Look, there's no freaking way this race should be close. Trump is a convicted felon. He tried to overthrow an American election 3.5 years ago, and this race is a dead heat. The only reason it's a dead heat is because, again, those people in the middle have concern about Biden's age.
Joe, just as a follow-up to that, you mentioned, these undecideds. It's my contention that a lot of the members of the Republican Party, won't publicly say they won't vote for Trump, but they will vote for Biden behind closed doors, not say it publicly. And I'm of the belief that the polls are not as close as they say.
Well, I think there's some truth to that. And again, the polling is schmoling, right? Like it just, when you look at polling averages, it portends a close race. And look, we've had two really close races in a row. Biden barely beat Trump electorally. Trump barely beat Hillary electorally. This is a divided country. The one advantage Trump has that he didn't have in 2020, and you know how I feel about Trump. 2020 was all about Trump. All Biden had to do was point at that crazy guy, point at him every day. The difference this year is Biden has a record. Biden has to defend what he's done.
Yes.
Biden has to defend Biden. He didn't have to do that 4 years ago. So this is a different dynamic now.
Yeah. Joe, I wanted to ask you, if you're just joining us, former presidential candidate Joe Walsh, great podcast, White Flag with Joe Walsh. I want to talk a little bit about Frank Luntz. I really don't talk to him very much on this show, but you tweeted out something, fair criticism about him. I'm not a Frank Luntz guy, but Frank Luntz goes on social media and he says there needs to be civility in this debate by both sides. And you called him disingenuous, and I couldn't agree with you more. When has Joe Biden shown a lack of civility in a debate, or for that matter, any time, certainly when he's been president of the United States or when he ran against Donald Trump in 2020? And why is it that Frank Luntz just can't admit it? I say because he's a righty, because he's a Trump supporter. Why does Frank do this? And I would use actually worse words than disingenuous. You were being kind.
Yeah, no, spot on, Brian. Luntz just pisses me off because I know he's running interference for Trump. I know he's privately trying to help Trump. I know that's where his bread is buttered. He doesn't have the balls to say that. So he hides. He hides under this notion that we've all got to be civil with each other. By the way, that's true. Our democracy depends upon it. It's what I try to do in my podcast, White Flag with Joe Walsh, every week. But you're right. There's no both sides here. Donald Trump is a standalone. He is a horribly mean, cruel, intolerant jackass.
Yeah.
Biden has had his moments. We've all had our moments, but nobody compares to Trump. And Frank Luntz hides behind that and tries to do the both sidesism because his bread is buttered by the right.
No question. Joe, are you going to actually be at the debate? Are you going to be one of the contributors that's going to be there? You're not.
No, I don't want to go near it.
Why not?
I don't want to go near it.
They need you, Joe. They need you there. They need you there.
No,
Come
stuff
on.
like this pisses me off. It's too much of a now. I think generally debates are stupid, especially the way we've been doing them. I think this one has the potential to be better. It's good there's no audience. Turn off the mic. How about having a discussion about policy?
No.
But Trump's not capable of that.
No, he's not.
I'll watch it like you'll watch it, but I don't want to go anywhere near it.
Okay, my final question, and I can understand why you would say that. I just love the way you analyze things and talk about things. But I wanted to ask you this in closing here. What do you actually think is going to happen? I hate to, talk to you like it's a football game or something and give me your prediction, but I guess in this aspect I will. I've already given my prediction. I will say this. I think Joe Biden's going to do fine. I'm not going to say he's going to wipe the floor clean with Trump, but I think policy-wise he's going to be strong and he's going to be just fine. I think the non-interruptions with the microphones helps Joe Biden. The fact that there's not going to be a live audience there helps Joe Biden. I think he's going to do just fine, just like he did in the State of the Union, and then Republicans are going to be claiming he's on drugs. That's what I think is going to happen.
I actually expect kind of that. I expect a wash. I expect Biden to do fine. Relatively speaking, I expect Trump to do fine, and I don't expect this to move the needle. And then we move on to the VP picks and the conventions. I worry that Biden is going to yell. You two both like Biden in the State of the Union. To me, he was an angry old man. Get the frick off my lawn. He did that for like an hour. I don't want Biden to yell. I want him to be relaxed, smile, have fun, make fun of Trump. And by the way, last thing, I want Biden to go after Trump. Too many Americans have forgotten what those 4 years were like. Too many Americans have forgotten what he did to lead January 6th. Our democracy's on the line. I want Biden with a twinkle in his eyes to say that.
Joe, one follow-up to that, though. You mentioned you felt he was angry, Joe Biden, in that State of the Union. But then conversely, so he raised his voice. I think part of that was to show that he still had some spunk in him, that he could go toe-to-toe with the narcissist that is Donald Trump and the guy that screams louder than anyone in the room. And I think that was by design. But now you're kind of saying you'd like to see him maybe draw that back a little. I mean, I don't know if he does, then some will say he's not up to the fight. I mean, is he damned if he does and damned if he doesn't?
Well, your view is the majority view. My view is on the State of the Union is the minority view. Most everybody thinks he did really well. I'll acknowledge that. I just modulate. Sometimes yell. Sometimes be more relaxed. Just Don't be like that.
That's
Don't
very
be like
fair.
that for an hour.
Joe, who do you got on White Flag? Who do you got on your White Flag?
We're going to get into, I'm not going to give you the name yet, but we're going to get into Gaza and Israel, and we're going to have a no-holds-barred, really fun discussion.
But it's not Frank Luntz. Is that fair to assume?
Oh, my God. I'd like to whack him upside the head.
Boy, would I love to hear you debate Frank Luntz. Boy, that would be fun.
He was, Brian, you know this. He was Kevin McCarthy's roommate.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, maybe they dated. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't have a lot. The only time I got into it with Frank was, I'll give you this quick story, Joe, then I know you got to get out of here. I saw him in line at a boxing fight in Vegas 5 or 6 years ago. He's standing there by himself eating a donut or something. And I said, Frank, why are you so biased? And he looks at me and he's like, who are you? I said, yeah, I do a radio show here in Vegas. And I just think you're so biased and you're so far to the right. But the worst part about it is you're not willing to admit it. And he gives me this weird, creepy smile. And he says, well, thank you so much for your opinion, and doesn't even combat anything with me. Just a coward. But anyway, disingenuous.
Asswipe. Can I say asswipe on the radio?
Absolutely.
You've done it 6 times
of
already.
Of course you can. Frank Luntz, I'll say it for him. Frank Luntz is an asswipe. Joe Walsh, you're not an asswipe.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Joe. Have a good one. Take care, buddy.
Thanks, gents. Thank you.
Appreciate you. That's Joe Walsh. I love a little bit of Joe Walsh. God, that guy's great.
He's got a great take on things. He really does. I like him. You know what it proves? It proves you can go from that far right side, if you will, and still have common sense to know that Trump's the wrong guy.
Joe Walsh will probably never be a politician ever again because he's no longer, pro-Trump. He admits to his faults. He admits to his mistakes. He's extremely honest. I think he does a phenomenal job on CNN. Seems like he's on CNN every night, Joe's been doing my show for many years now. And not because he's an anti-Trumper, because he's opinionated, he's honest, very intelligent, and I appreciate him coming on. I do want to open up the phone lines. If you want to give us a call, now would be a good time to do so. 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you'd like to be a part of the conversation, it is 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. We will open up the phone lines now. And as I open up the phone lines, well, what are we talking about? What are myself and Nick, Mr. Nick Bonsanto, what are we talking about? Well, first of all, the Trumpers out there claiming that Joe Biden, if he's not drugged, he's going to be drugged, get a shot in the ass, as Donald Trump said, alleged, before the debate on Thursday. How do you think this debate is going to go down? What do you want to hear from Joe Biden? What do you want to hear from Donald Trump? I actually don't mind if Joe Biden raises his voice a little bit.
No, me either. That's why I kind of challenged Joe on that a little bit because I think that listen, Joe is a class act, okay? And anyone who's ever spoken with Joe while he's been president or prior knows that Joe is a class act. And a lot of people thought he was maybe too laid back, so I think he was advised to assert himself, and he did.
And one of the defining moments, Nick, in one of the presidential debates in 2020 was when Joe Biden told Trump to shut up, man. And I think when you have somebody in your ear for literally 45 minutes straight, interrupting you, talking over you, not letting you get a sentence, and you're going to get a little frustrated, and that goes for anybody. And I didn't have a problem with Joe Biden saying that. What I would like to see from Joe Biden, because we really didn't, what I would like to see is I'd like to see him call him a felon. I'd like to see him go after Donald Trump with the issues he's had in the courtrooms. I'd like to see him go after Donald Trump for the despicable statements he made about John McCain, the despicable statements he's made about our brave men and women in uniform. I think you have to hit Donald Trump there because Trump is going to talk about Hunter Biden. Yes. Donald Trump is going to get personal. I'd like to see Joe Biden do it first, actually.
No, I don't disagree with you there, Brian. The thing that can I tell you, one of the things I'd like to see him really get into is Trump ran on, the illegal immigration forever. They're beating the hell out of that again. I would like to see Joe say, hey, Donald, why did you tell your people to vote no when I was actually trying to do what you say you want done?
Yeah.
And I would like to see him challenge him on that as well. I agree. I'd call him a felon to his face.
Yeah.
I really would. But I'd like to see him challenge him on that because I believe there's a lot of truth. And Joe and the Democrats wanted to help the situation.
I wouldn't call him the former president. I wouldn't even call him Mr. Trump. I would call him the convicted felon. 702-221. We have one phone line open. 702-221-7283. The number to call. Let's go to JP, who's first up on PTL. Hello, JP.
Brian, how you doing, man?
Hey, good, JP. Where are you calling from, buddy?
I am calling from the western slope of Colorado,
right.
Lauren Boebert's former district.
Oh, no. Oh, no. What's on your mind today, JP?
It's been a fun 4 years. Hey, and nice to see you too, Nick.
Thank you.
I have a few questions. I was talking with a friend the other day, and, you guys are going over, like, how Trump is, telling lies about Biden getting shots and whatnot and kind of prepping his cult for any kind of excuse if he happens to, technically lose the debate or whatnot. But I've noticed this thing with the Republican Party lately where they're kind of presenting the American public with a series of catch-22s. So, if if we go ahead and prosecute Trump for his crimes or alleged crimes or whatnot, then they're going to, commit violence against the country. And but more troubling to me, I guess, is after watching that interview with Kevin Roberts from the Heritage Foundation and kind of the mantra of like the Tim Scotts and the J.D. Vances of we'll accept the results of this election if we feel it was free and fair. Well, I mean, what they're saying is if Trump wins.
Yeah, exactly. They will
the only
never.
way that it's going to be free and fair.
These MAGAs will never admit to Donald Trump losing anything. In fact, when Melania Trump eventually divorces Donald Trump, because we know it's a financial agreement, when that actually happens, they will blame Melania for it and they will turn on her as well. These people are cultists. Yes, that's right. I stand by every statement that I made when I went to that rally 2 weeks ago. It is a Klan cult as far as I am concerned. And the bottom line here is that no matter what happens on Thursday, all the surrogates will say Trump won. All the surrogates will say Joe Biden was drugged up. All the surrogates will say it was unfair. They're already doing it. Donald Trump and his surrogates are already complaining about CNN when Trump is the guy who agreed to do this on CNN. Hey, guess what, you dummies? If you didn't want Donald Trump to do a debate on CNN, then you don't agree to it. But these dummies go on these networks and they cry, oh, Jake Tapper, oh, CNN, they're not going to treat Trump fair. Well, then he shouldn't have agreed to go on, you dumbasses. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Right. I guess one of my main questions is I know that you've talked about, the best way to kind of counteract this BS about the free and fair election is to show up in massive numbers and, get Biden, vote Biden in by such a gigantic margin that they really can't contest it. And I absolutely agree with that theory. On the other hand, they're going to contest it whether Biden wins by 1 vote or 10 million votes. So in your opinion, is there anything that like maybe, I don't know, the federal government or local governments could be doing right now to kind of counteract the inevitable, lashback if Biden does end up winning the election?
Good question. And by the way, thank you for the call out there in Colorado. Well, listen, I think we all could agree that what took place on January 6th was a terrible embarrassment and it was a horrible day for the country. I think some people have learned some things since that day. The country needs to be prepared. Our law enforcement need to be prepared. No matter what the outcome is, I'm more worried if Joe Biden wins, what MAGA country will be doing as far as violence. That does worry me, I'll be honest with you. If Donald Trump wins, Nick, I'll be disappointed, but I'm not going to be sitting here crying. I'm not going to be sitting here saying my life is over. I'm going to continue. Life goes on, and I'll just be disappointed, but I'm not going to be sitting here crying like some people would say. Do I want Joe Biden to win? Absolutely, Nick, and I know you do too, because I believe Trump is a threat to our democracy. He's divided the country. It's going to take years and years to recuperate from the division that we have, which I believe Donald Trump is a huge part of.
Yeah, I will preface one thing, though, I'd like to add to what you said. Sure. I mean, listen, life will go on. We survived barely the first 4 years with him. It was tough. I mean, the pandemic, there's 5 million that didn't or so. However, one thing to me, though, I will accept it because that's what we do, because reasonable people, and that's the key word, reasonable people understand that in America we have an election, it's free and it's fair, and what the majority says does win. It is just how it works. But I will say this. And we haven't touched on this at all in our discussion when we talked about debate and differences today. I know you've touched in the past. But as a father of 2 daughters, I am very concerned about how much further a Trump administration could roll back women's rights. I really, as a father of 2 adult women,
that's very fair.
That scares me more than how is Nick Bonsanno and his wife going to survive 4
You're
more
right.
years of him.
You're right.
But
So
I worry about young women.
You make a very good point there, and I think a lot of women feel that way, and you're absolutely right. I am not discounting the fact of what Donald Trump could do to this country if he wins. What I am saying is I'm still going to move on with my life, and I'm not going to be taking antidepressants, but I understand your point of view as well, and we don't want Trump certainly to win, and I think most of the country feels that way. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. We have one phone line open, 702-221-7283. Let's go to Joseph, who's next up on PTL. What's going on, Joseph?
Yeah, hey, Brian. All right, first of all, when I heard about that there's going to be a debate, I do hope that Joe Biden will say everything about Trump, everything about him as a convicted felon, and Trump may say about Hunter Biden was found guilty, but I bet that Joe Biden will say at least Hunter Biden, he went to court like a man, unlike Trump, who's just nothing more but a big fat.
So, Joseph, I agree with you what you said 100%, but I'm going to be honest with you, and you guys can both tell me if you agree. I don't think Joe Biden's going to do that. I think he's going to take the high road, and I think that's going to be wrong in this situation. Joe, you're right. If he brings up Hunter Biden, Joe Biden can turn it right in his face. I'm a loving father. I care about my son. He's going to appeal, but we respect the process, unlike you, who have attacked judges, attacked their families, attacked juries, complained about how cold it was in the courtroom, and my wife stood with my son. Where was your family? Where was Melania? I would turn it right in Donald Trump's face. That's what should happen, Joseph. We agree. I don't think Joe Biden's going to do that. He should do it, but I don't think he will, if that makes sense.
And speaking of Trump talking about his beautiful body, makes me think, no wonder Stormy Daniels sued in.
Can you imagine? I think I've asked this question before. Three men talking here. This is locker room talk. No, it's not. I would never talk.
No, but isn't that's how he described his bus conversation.
Can you imagine the hell of Stormy Daniels staring up at the ceiling while Donald Trump is on top of her? Can you imagine? Can you imagine anything worse than that?
Can I have a trash can? I'm about to puke.
Like, I don't know. I mean, is there anything worse than that? Like, I don't know. I mean, that if there is a hell out there, okay, that would be what hell is like. Would you agree, Joe?
I 100% agree with that one, because for Stormy Daniels, that's going to be the biggest nightmare. She's never going to take out of her brain, because that's what Trump looks like. I mean, that's the one picture I don't want to picture in my brain anyway.
Yeah, did you see that? I guess it's a fake picture. I don't know if it's true or not, but this naked picture of Donald Trump getting sprayed. I don't know if anybody. I can understand why Stormy Daniels calls him the mushroom. Anyway, Joseph, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it, my man. Good to hear from you. Thank you.
You got it.
All right. 702. All right, let's get back to the calls.
Can we please not talk about that again? I'm going to eat here.
Everybody's lost their appetite on lunch hour. 702-221-7283. All right, let's go to a MAGA caller. As I like to. Are we going to go to Mark first? All right, Mark. I don't think Mark is a MAGA supporter. What's up, Mark? What's going on?
Hey, good afternoon, fellas.
Hey, Mark.
I just can't stand it when everyone says Biden has to prove this, Biden has to prove that, he has to show he's not that old. Let's get some facts straight here. You need to push back on this nonsense. First of all, Trump is 78 years old. Second, a lot of things has happened since the last election against Biden. Trump has been found guilty of rape. Trump has been convicted of felonies. Trump committed an insurrection. Trump has gaffes such as Joe Bride. Trump has gaffes such as Dr. Johnson.
Yeah.
Trump needs to prove.
Okay, let me push back a little bit.
It's stable.
Mark, hear me out. Okay, so Mark, hear me out on this. I understand where you're coming from. Okay, he doesn't have to prove anything to me. He doesn't have to prove anything to you. But this is where I agree with Joe Walsh. There is a contingency of people.
Easy for you to say.
People that I know that are Republican who've already said they're not voting for Donald Trump, but they're not voting for Joe Biden because they don't think he's competent for the job either. Now, I'm speaking about those people. If Joe Biden does a really good job on Thursday, if he holds his ground, maybe even wins the debate, I do believe it's important for those people, and we're talking about maybe 5% of the country, maybe 10% of the country. That can affect the election in November, and that's why this election, or I should say this debate, is so important.
Two things real quick. First thing is, if Trump voters are on the fence and they don't vote for Trump and they don't vote for Biden, that's a big win for Biden. Yes, they could vote for Biden, but
I agree.
just not voting for anyone,
I agree.
that's a huge win.
I agree.
Second, Brian, you need to put a Post-it, please, on your side, on the desk somewhere, that whenever you have a guest on and they state that the administration is woke, the country is woke, please, Brian, your first question should be, do you have the meaning of what woke means?
Yeah.
Please give us that meaning, because no one can.
Yeah.
They just blurt this crazy.
Well, the
crazy-
definition basically is that you're aware. You're aware of your surroundings. You're awake. You're aware, and I don't think that's a bad thing at all. And I appreciate the call, Mark. Thank you so much.
See, I happen to agree with Mark a lot. And I tend to believe, and this is what I keep saying, I don't know what Joe truly has to prove.
Yeah.
Because I believe he's proved it. I really do. Okay, he took over a disaster, a complete disaster. We were in the midst of a pandemic with people dying daily. He steadied the ship. I know the economy has there have been issues and people don't like it. But one thing a lot of people don't mention when we talk about the economy at the moment. Let me tell you, wages have also gone up a lot too.
Sure.
Okay, and now corporate greed's another story. I'm getting way off base here. But one of the things, I agree with Mark. I don't know what he needs to prove. I just think he needs to show people that he still has a steady hand.
Yes.
And I don't think he needs to prove too much.
But Nick, he doesn't have to prove anything to you. He doesn't have to prove anything to me. He doesn't have to prove anything to Mark. We know who we are voting for.
Yes.
I am not talking about people like us. I'm talking about people that are staunch Republicans who are sick of the Trump era, but they don't want to vote for Biden either for different reasons.
Then don't vote.
Well, that might be true, and I agree with the caller. That is a win for Joe Biden, and that's why I think Joe Biden's going to win the election, because I don't think there are enough people in this country that voted for Joe Biden in 2020 that are saying, hey, you know what, I think I'm going to vote for that 34-count felon liable rapist. So I agree with that. Let's get back to the call. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Larry. Larry is next up on PTL. Hi, Larry. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from western Kansas.
All right, Kansas. Hey, beware of those tornadoes out there, man. What's on your mind, Larry? Thanks for listening from Kansas. What's on your mind, my friend?
I was just wondering, are you enjoying the Trump show? I mean, I believe it's in the 9th season now, and we just can't turn it off.
Well, here's what I'll say.
It's on every channel.
Sure. So here's what I'll say to that, Larry. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be brutally honest. Yeah. When I watched Donald Trump in 2015 run for president, I didn't think he was going to win. At times, I was entertained. I watched the debates versus Hillary Clinton. At times, I was entertained. I didn't think he was going to win, and I didn't really take his candidacy extremely seriously. I was wrong. I'm at the point now where it's not entertainment for me. I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted by the division he's put us in. I'm disgusted with the bigotry and the hatred and attacking people, every single person that disagrees with him, the nicknames. To me, it's not about entertainment anymore. It's about he's an embarrassment to the country. And if he loses in November, I think MAGA will slowly go away. You know, the Marjorie Taylor Greenes and the Lauren Boeberts and the Jim Jordans, they're not lawmakers. They're noisemakers. They are an embarrassment. I used to be able to disagree with some of these staunch Republicans and say, you know what, I don't agree with this policy. I don't agree with that policy. And I would talk on the radio a lot about policy. But now it's about just disgusting behavior and things that are beneath the presidency. I had a moron, if you recall, I have a lot of morons on the show, not you, Nick. But I had a moron on the show last week who works for Laura Loomer, who said that he hoped John McCain would be captured again so he could be a POW again. These are the kinds of people. Yeah, I mean, it's Larry. These are the type of people that we are dealing with here. These are despicable people. Most of them are very ignorant white people who are uneducated, who Trump said I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and they will still support me. And that is why I stand by everything I've ever said about this being a cult and having the feeling of it being a Klan cult.
Yeah. Now, you also had another guest on last week who made a comment about Biden, that he's not entertaining enough. Well, I don't want my politics to be entertaining.
Amen, Larry.
Amen. To be boring.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more, and I know Nick agrees as well. This isn't about, it's so interesting you bring this up, Larry, because, Donald Trump was in Philadelphia over the weekend, right? And all the MAGAs out there claim, he's so entertaining, he sells out all these arenas and they're all filled to capacity. The arena in Philadelphia wasn't even half full. You look at the video, they're posting videos of the entire upper section empty. Hey, Larry, guess what happened when Joe Biden spoke at that same arena? You ready? The entire upper level was full. But yet the Trump nation wants you to think that 30 million people show up to his rallies when it couldn't be anything further from the truth, and they want to make fun of Ocasio or Cortez speaking in the Bronx over the weekend because she showed a little bit of enthusiasm. And I'm going to say this: I would much rather see Ocasio Cortez, who, in my opinion, is a beautiful-looking woman, very attractive, intelligent, showing some enthusiasm than jumping up and down. Have you ever seen Donald Trump jump up and down? How would you like to see that guy go through a loop?
Didn't he fall down a ramp the one time? Yeah. And he worries about Joe slipping on a step going to an airplane. I mean, give me a break. You know one thing,
when
Larry,
he dances.
When he dances.
It looks like his feet don't even come off.
It looks like he's performing a sexual act on two men when he dances. I don't understand. I don't understand what that whole thing is, man.
Brian, Larry, let me add one thing. And Larry, you said it. Brian, you hit it. All right. Listen, we just want our country back. One of the slogans that Joe Biden ran on in the 2020 election was restoring the soul of America. That's what he said. And I believe that is even more relevant today, that we can't backslide even further. We need to continue that restoration of the soul of this great country, and can't let the poison of the MAGA cult come back and start us in that downward trend one more time.
Larry, spread the word in Kansas, my friend. I love people like you out there calling into the show, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you much for having me.
Thank you, Larry. One of my favorite movies is Twister, by the way. I wanted to add that in there.
Yeah, I like that movie,
I love that movie.
There's a shame. Bill Poland's gone now.
Bill Paxton,
Paxton. What did I say, Poland?
I think he's...
Was I thinking football?
Great actor. I love Bill Paxton. One of my favorite movies of all time is a movie called A Simple Plan with Billy Bob Thornton and Bill Paxton. It's a movie about how money can ruin people. A great movie.
Did you ever watch his on HBO Big Love?
Yes.
I loved Big Love.
Yeah, that was a great show too. He's very sorely missed.
Really good actor.
Good man, great actor. 702-221-7283. Why don't we go to Paul? Paul is next up on PTL. Hi, Paul. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
How you doing, man?
Good.
Hey, you know what? A totally different topic. The one thing I keep hearing about the Ten Commandments on the wall, which is disgusting, by the way. If they're now, the reason they're doing it is because it's a historical document. Have you heard that now? The whole right-wing thing? No,
I have.
Okay, so then why don't we put the then I would suggest, since they're all about historical reasons, why don't we put the 3/5 clause right next to the Ten Commandments?
How about the Quran?
So that we can explain how we're.
How about the Quran?
I mean, what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
I don't disagree, but to an extent. But the whole thing is, if their premise is we were built on being a Christian nation, then why was a black person that was made in God's image, just like you and I?
Yeah.
Why are they worth less? Why is that creation of God? So you put the Ten Commandments,
answer that.
and then you put the 3/5 clause right next to it. Now, their heads would explode.
I'll answer that in a very simple way, and then Nick, you could take over from here. In their mind, these MAGAs, if they had it their way, they would have Orange Man on the Ten Commandments, and they would want every child to look at Orange Man. If they had it their way, they would want Donald Trump's poster to be shown in every classroom and every school. But they're the ones that are saying that these teachers are indoctrinating our kids. Yet they want something involving religion, in this case, the Ten Commandments, who they support, who has broken. For last I checked, I don't think Donald Trump has murdered anybody, but thou shalt not steal, adultery, you name it. And yet this is the guy that they look up to as their God, and they want the Ten Commandments shown in every school. What is it, in Louisiana? It is a joke, Nick. It's a joke.
Brian, you are right. Hey, Paul, can I ask, where are you from? Where do you live?
California.
You're in California. Okay. I just want to say this about that commandments, Louisiana. I have to tell you, as a guy, before I came to Las Vegas, I spent 12 years living in North Georgia, actually in Marjorie Taylor Greene's district. I wish I still owned my house, because I promise you I would have gone back and run against her and beat her. However, that's another story. But if you've ever lived, have you ever lived in the South, Paul?
I lived in Indiana, and it's the most racist place I've ever been to in my entire life.
I moved to North Georgia with my beautiful bride who is Jewish. I'm not. Who is Jewish. And we got there, and they told us, whatever you do you see that mountain right there? Don't go up there. The Klan will not like you, okay? They actually said that. Now, the other thing in the South, why the Ten Commandments being plastered in schools is Southerners, and trust me, I have a lot of great friends in the South, and there are great people there. I'm not talking about all of them, but there is a mentality. I'll never forget being there for a week, Paul. I was there for a week, and I went to this public gathering that was, it was a business meeting. And I will tell you that the first thing that happened to me as a guy from New Jersey in the South who had been there for just a week or two is they came up to me in mass. Where do you go to church? What, you're Catholic? No. You can't be Catholic. And went on, and I literally had to raise my voice and tell people it's not acceptable to do that in America today. Leave me alone. Get away from me. Where I go to church is none of your business. They want to indoctrinate everyone to their way of thinking.
Absolutely.
And it's the majority. It's not the minority. There is a minority there that are great folks. But it doesn't surprise me. Trump plays to that Southern majority that thinks that everything has to be wrapped in a church and in Jesus Christ and everything else. And it's disgusting. And for anyone that's lived there and managed to get out and away from it, you see it even more. When I moved to Vegas, I looked at it and I said, how did I do 12 years with that mentality? I don't know how anyone does.
Yeah, I agree. Go ahead.
And as a person of faith, Brian, and I happen to believe the Ten Commandments, but I have no right to put it or throw it in your face or your host's face or an atheist's face or a Buddhist face. Exactly. It is completely morally repugnant that I would do that and force my beliefs on anybody else. And how anybody calls himself a Christian, I would rather be neighbors with Pete Buttigieg, who's gay, than someone like Donald Trump who pretends to be a fake Christian.
I could not agree with you more. Yep.
I will make one recommendation. I watched the movie, and it's only 90 minutes. It's a movie called Bad Faith. It's about white Christian nationalism, and if you're ever interested, it's a really, really good documentary. And Steve that's the guy from the Lincoln Project is on there and does some points.
Oh, okay,
it's
cool.
a really good movie. It gives you the history of how it started.
Cool. I'll definitely have to check that out, my friend, and I appreciate your phone call. Thank you so much.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Guys.
Thank you. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Why don't we take a few more quick phone calls, then we'll go to break, because I definitely have some more audio I want to play. We have a lot of other stuff we have to get to.
Got great callers, though.
Yeah, we have some good callers. We have a few not-so-good ones. But speaking of which, 702-221-7283. Let's go to MAGA Julie. Sorry, I had to do it. Julie, I'm sorry. You haven't done anything wrong. Julie, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind, Julie?
Yes, Brian, I want to recommend you a book, The CIA as Organized Crime by Douglas Valentine. That's the first thing.
I thought you were going to recommend me. I thought you were going to recommend me buy the Donald Trump Bible. I thought that was the book you wanted me to get.
No, you could read the Bible as well because it's a good literature.
It is. Well, you should tell that.
Every leader in the world,
Yeah.
every leader in the world, even Castro read Mein Kampf
Well,
and
Julie, you're
also
entitled.
the Bible.
You're entitled to your opinion on that, and that's
Okay.
fine. But I will say this: if it's Donald Trump's favorite book, why can't he read a passage from the book? He hasn't memorized one passage. Would you say your leader might be lying?
I don't care what Donald
don't
Trump
care.
or anyone reads.
Gotcha. Okay. Well,
I
clearly
don't
you
care.
don't.
I don't care because
Clearly you
I
don't.
have a family to
Yeah.
provide for.
No, I
I'm
understand.
concerned about
Sure.
food.
So you don't care.
And I'm not concerned about abortion because abortion is not my priority. I told you before.
Okay,
You
so
have
it's
to
only
go
about
and-
you. I understand.
You have to
Yeah.
go outside. You have to go
Sure.
outside and ask women, women like me, and registered nurse like
no,
me.
no, no, no. You
because
see,
know
women
that
haven't
I am
asked.
breastfeeding.
Julie, it doesn't matter
And
whether.
what is more
Julie,
important? Because we
Julie,
are not
hang on.
aborting
You're
every
going on a
single
tangent
day.
again. Julie, hang on a second. Let's backtrack a little bit here, okay? I understand that's your opinion on abortion, but most of this country disagrees with you, Republican and Democrat. It's
No,
Julie,
You don't
pot her
know
down.
that.
Pot her down.
You don't know
pot her-
that.
okay. Yeah, actually, yes, I do, Julie, because unlike you, I can spell the word fact. In every poll across the country, 60%, 6 out of 10, both Republicans and Democrats, Americans, believe in a woman's right to choose. So you see, you and Donald Trump have something in common. It's only about you. And I would be willing to make a bet with you that Donald Trump's had abortions in his life as well. And you also made an interesting comment. You don't care, Julie, if your leader is a liar. So you don't care if someone uses, and you being a religious woman, as you claim, I'm not surprised that you don't care about this. But Julie, you claim to be a Christian woman. If that's the case, then wouldn't it bother you when someone holds a Bible upside down and says, hey, guys, I want your vote, so this is my favorite book. And then in multiple interviews when he's asked, what's your favorite passage? He can't name one. Hey, guess what, Julie? If someone asked me what my favorite passage is, I would say I don't have a favorite passage because I've never read the Bible and I could give two craps what's in the Bible. If you care, that's fine. But it's called pandering, Julie, and lying. Why don't you care that your leader, the Orange Messiah, okay, 34-count convicted felon, sexual abuser, is a liar? Why doesn't that bother you at all, Julie?
Can I speak? Because you allowed other people to speak, but you censor me and you silence me.
Okay, so first of all,
When
if I
I'm talking.
censored you, I would say you're never allowed to call the show again. So stop it with your cancel culture
yes,
BS.
yes.
Okay,
let
do you
tell
want me to
something,
censor
Brian.
you?
I'm
Do you
not-
want me to
I'm not a
censor you,
religious
Julie?
Person. I'm not a religious
Answer
person.
the question. I didn't ask you how religious you are. Answer the question,
no,
or I'm going
not
to
a-
censor
I'm
you.
not a- oh, yeah, of course. Because you don't
Answer
have
the
any-
question.
You don't have
Answer the question. You're making me sound like John McEnroe over here. Answer. I just asked you a question, and I'm going to ask it again. Holy smokes, mega.
Supporting a cognitive demented person.
I don't even know what you're saying. What are you talking about?
Confused. Biden has dementia. I'm
All
a
right.
registered
Hey, Julie.
nurse.
Hey,
Why-
Julie, guess what? You're censored. You dope. You're
You know,
censored.
Hey, she said she was a nurse. Right? She said she was a nurse. I caught that in the in
Somebody
the,
should give her
in
a
the
physical.
rambling.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if she was a nurse and she worked in a hospital and a young woman had to abort a pregnancy for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Would she not take care of them? Isn't it her duty to take care to take care of the medical needs
according to
of
Julie-
her patients and not push her agenda
That's a good point.
on her patients?
According to her, though, it's only about, she doesn't care about abortion because she only cares about herself. It's only about her opinions.
I mean,
What a
no one,
dope.
listen, we all, the whole world is not in love with abortion. What they want, the majority, is just the right to choose what you want.
Well, listen, I love my maggot callers. They're very special. Do we have another one, Numchuck? Okay.
Short bus?
702-221-7283. Then the number to call if you'd like to be a part of the conversation. 702-221-7283. But I always give them the opportunity as long as they're willing to answer a question. All right, let's go to Patrick, who's next. Hello, Patrick.
Hello, Brian. Good afternoon, sir. Hey, I just want to talk about this Biden tweet that went out. I think you referenced earlier, talking about President Biden versus Donald Trump speaking at the same venue there in Philly. And, of course, Trump, third top row up there in the top area, there was nobody. And then the Biden picture, there was a bunch of people. That was actually from a 2022
What does it
John
matter?
Fetterman
What does it matter?
event. It wasn't a Joe Biden rally.
Okay, Joe Biden spoke
That's why
there.
it matters.
Joe Biden spoke at the rally, and they knew that Joe Biden was going to speak. And now the point that Patrick is trying to make is, well, it wasn't just a Joe Biden rally, so
Who
let's
was
not
the headline speaker, Brian?
Okay, so
Who
you
was the
think they
headline
all
speaker?
came out? So you think they all came out to see Fetterman speak, and it wasn't because Joe Biden was there? Is that the argument
Who was
that you're
the
trying to
headline
make?
Speaker, Brian.
So
Who was the headline speaker?
I just told you.
It wasn't Fetterman.
Okay, so
You're
tell me.
wrong. It was Obama.
Okay, so that's why it was full. And when Joe Biden was speaking, it was only because
Actually,
of Barack
Brian,
Obama when Joe Biden was the president of the United States.
There was
Okay.
a huge curtain out in between the
Okay.
Coliseum, so there was. It was not full. It was actually
Okay.
it was
So
a cheek
Patrick.
by the Biden
So
campaign.
Patrick. Okay. So Patrick, how was the upper level in the Trump rally over the weekend? What did that look like?
Well, they used the whole Coliseum.
That's not what I asked you. That's not what I asked you. How many people were in the upper second level during the Trump rally?
There was more people at the Biden event than there was.
How
the
many
John
people were in
Fetterman
the
event.
upper? How many people were in the upper level at the Trump event? I'm now asking for a third time.
There was 0 people.
Thank you. Thank
With
you.
the
Okay.
Coliseum,
Okay.
There was a
So-
curtain in between
Gotcha.
the middle, even more of the
Gotcha.
middle of the
Okay.
Coliseum,
Patrick-
preventing any seats.
Gotcha. Okay,
if
so
you
Patrick,
went
you're
look at
trying to
those
make
pictures,
Gotcha. So how many people were there, Patrick? 30 million? How many people do you think were there in Philadelphia in the arena?
There was more people at the Trump event than there was the John Fetterman event in 2022.
Gotcha. So I guess by
That
going
is
by
correct.
those standards, I
Hey,
mean,
but Joe
Donald
Biden
Trump
did
must
have a rally in Philadelphia last month, and he was only able to get maybe 3 rows of people.
Gotcha. I'm sure that's very
at
accurate.
the whole event.
I'm sure that's a very
Go
accurate
look at the
statement,
pictures,
Patrick.
man. It's
I know.
not-
I'm sure
not
that's a
disputable.
How many did Donald pay in Philly?
Yeah.
Like he did here in Vegas.
Hey, Patrick, have you looked at the naked Donald Trump pictures? Go look at those pictures. I bet you pleasure
Why
yourself
are you
to them
such
every
a
night.
pervert, Brian?
Why? What
Why
do you
are
mean?
Such a perv.
Why am I a perv? Why am I a perv?
Why are you always talking about penises and penis jokes and knee pads and Donald Trump's Donald Trump?
did I
shape of
offend
his
you?
penis?
Does that make you
why is
uncomfortable?
everything sexual to you?
Well, everything's not sexual to me, but I will say Donald Trump has an amazing physique. I'm sure you would agree with me on that. Not everything's sexual, but Donald Trump definitely gets me off. I mean, he's a very attractive man. Would you agree, Patrick?
Donald
that make
Trump
you-
wasn't he was a Playboy bachelor.
Yeah,
for so
I
many
mean, I
years.
agree.
Yeah, if you go back and look at
Patrick,
him in the 30s and 40s,
I agree.
He was a
I agree, Patrick. I mean, you look at this guy's physique. He was bragging about it over the
it
weekend.
is Pride Month. I'd go for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Patrick, you see, here's the thing. You get triggered very easily. When I make a joke about Donald... Hold on, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet.
I'm just stating
and
the
I'm
facts.
stating the
And
facts.
you're
So,
out there
and I'm
spreading
stating the
lies
facts. So,
about-
and I'm stating the facts. So be quiet. Now I'm stating the facts. Anybody makes fun of your Cheeto Jesus Messiah, you get triggered. Anybody makes a joke about his physique, you get upset, and all of a sudden I'm a pedophile. Anybody, but here's the thing, Patrick. People like you, dopes like you, and a lot of the MAGA people on the far right, they'll say Joe Biden has Alzheimer's. They'll call him a pedophile, and that's totally okay with you, right? But if somebody makes fun of Cheeto Jesus, your hero, and yes, I'm just stating an opinion, okay? I feel like you pleasure yourself to Donald Trump every night before you go to sleep. Now, Patrick, you called me a liar, okay? So please explain to me something that I've said on this show today that is a blatant lie. Go ahead, Patrick. You listen to this show every day. I know you're obsessed with me and I grow on you like a fungus. What have I said on this show that's a blatant lie? Go.
I haven't watched your whole show today, but you do continually.
I don't believe
state that Donald Trump has spent more money than Obama did. Obama was actually the number
What
one
are you
spender.
talking? Pot him down again. Pot him down again. Patrick, are you this stupid?
Did you mention
I
Obama?
never mentioned Obama the entire show, you frickin' dope. You just called me a liar. When you call somebody a liar, like, for example, Donald Trump's a liar. Brian, why is he a liar? Because he says the election was stolen in 2020. There you go. No evidence of widespread voter fraud. Patrick, I never even brought up Obama until you did in this conversation. I never even talked about spending or anything. How stupid are you? Oh, wait, let's give him another chance.
on.
Nick, should I give him another chance?
No.
Okay, I won't. Patrick,
Hang
have a
on.
nice day. Have a nice day.
Because I'm concerned, okay? Because I watched you in the back. You got the blood pressure cuff out in the break, okay? And you're getting beat red. Your hat's lifted off your head. I'm concerned. People like Patrick are not good.
No, they're not. They're not good for my
They're
health.
bad for your health.
Patrick, thank you so much for the phone call.
Let me take some of that from you because I'm worried about you.
Nick, I think you're a liar. You said the earth was flat today on the show. Oh.
Yeah, but I did trip and fall off it earlier.
702-221-7283 is the number to call. Thank you for making so many eloquent points, Patrick and Julie, in those two phone calls. You add both your IQs together, they don't equal 20. Let's go to Chris. Chris is next up on PTL. Hello, Chris. What's going on?
Yeah, hey, thanks for taking me in. Quick question for you here. I actually just came across the guy today. I'm not sure if you've heard of him, but as far as the upcoming presidential debates, obviously you got Trump, you got Biden. Have you heard of Dr. Shiva, who's running?
I do not know who Dr. Shiva is. No, Nick, have you heard of him?
Okay, yeah, I'm not on Team Shiva. I'm not Team Shiva or not.
I sense a joke. I sense a joke coming up. And am I wrong on that, Chris?
No. Dr. Shiva, you can look him up. He was married to Fran Drescher. He says he created email. No joke there.
Well, nobody's else has got. We know that even not if Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is not even going to be on the debate stage. So even if that is true, and no, to be honest,
yeah, I don't think he can. Anyways, he was born in India, and I guess he's trying to challenge that. Again, I was just curious. I was just curious as to if you'd heard of him. If anybody's heard of him,
are you talking about the cardiologist, Dr. Shiva? Is that who you're talking about?
Dr. Shiva. He's the Indian guy.
Yeah.
I have not.
Independent.
I have not heard.
Hey, you know what? He should talk to. Hold on, I've got him pulled up. He should talk to Donald Trump. He specializes in gastric bypass.
Well, he's definitely not a Trump fan. He'll be the first one to tell you that. Like I said, I just kind of discovered him today. No problem.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question, if I may? Because you bring up an interesting point about somebody third person on a debate stage. Do you think Robert F. Kennedy Jr. should be on the debate stage on Thursday?
Well, first of all, I think anybody should be on the debate stage. I think we should definitely have more than two parties. I don't know if we're ever going to see that, where that's going to happen, but I don't see any reason to disqualify Kennedy from debates. It's just a matter of what, and that could go if you're Republican leaning, Democrat leaning. What's going to happen is one of the parties is going to kind of bump you out of the way.
I have a mixed, so I understand where you're coming from. I think a lot of people feel the way you feel, and I sort of agree with you, but I have a mixed feeling on this because Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has no chance to win. He just doesn't have the support. And I want people up there on a stage that actually, have an opportunity to win. And I think we all could probably agree, whether it's Dr. Shiva or Robert F. Kennedy Jr., it's going to be Joe Biden or Donald Trump, right? I mean, right.
Yeah. It definitely will be. And that brings me to actually why I called in. You haven't made your opinions secret as far as how you feel about Trump, and that's fine. Do you have something that you would like to see? Because all I'm hearing, and I hear it from you and I hear it from a lot of people that dislike Trump, their biggest point of contention is, I don't like Trump because list off the reasons. Moving forward, what, I'm not sure if you would actually put your full faith in Biden. What would you see as a realistic move forward aside from I don't like Trump? I think if Trump disappears, your show is going to suffer. I'm not sure what you're going to talk about.
I've done radio. I've done radio. Okay, well, with all due respect, I did radio before Donald Trump. I've been doing this for 20 years, so I would respectfully disagree with you on that one. There's plenty of important topics.
That's all you talk about. I just got.
Let me respond to that.
A little while back.
Let me respond
to that. I've listened to it every day, and all you talk about is how much you dislike Trump. You don't have any actual ideas moving forward.
So you have. Okay,
Trump's bad.
So I'm going to be respectful here. But to be honest with you, you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. I talk about a lot of issues on this show, and where I'd like to see the country go could be gun control, could be health care, could be minimum wage. I talk about substantive issues on this show every single day. You just simply don't listen to it. That's number one. Number two. Okay, hold on. Sir, I'm not done answering your... No, pot him down. I'm potting you down, idiot, because you just cut me off. I'm answering your question, so shut up and don't be so damn obnoxious and let me answer. I let you talk. Now it's my turn, you dope. That's how radio works. And I'm calling you a dope because you're not letting me finish. Whew. Now I'm going to finish your idiotic statement. This isn't about just not liking Donald Trump. It's about caring about democracy. And the reason why I talk about Donald Trump every day is the same reasons why everybody else is. It could be a right-wing network or a left-wing network. So I guess you're criticizing them as well. Fox News, OAN, Newsmax, CNN, MSNBC, Sean Hannity, Mark Levin, Laura Ingraham, Tucker Carlson. Every single one of those people talks about Trump every single day. Now, that they might talk about different topics involving Donald Trump. The reason why I'm talking about him, sir, and this might be hard for you to understand, and I'll try to be respectful and I'll speak slowly for you. You see, Donald Trump is the leader of the Republican Party. You see, sir, we have something called an election in November. It's a presidential election. It's going to be either Donald Trump or Joe Biden that's going to be our president. So you see, sir, I discussed Donald Trump on this show. Now, I'm so sorry, sir. I'm so sorry I talk
Brian.
about Donald Trump. Yes, I'm here, sir. Yes, I'm here.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Donald Trump is, the Republican nominee.
Thank you. I'm glad you answered.
Okay. He is.
Thank
but
you.
You're the only one that stole money from your dead sister.
No, I didn't steal money from anybody, sir. And you obviously are not smart enough to have a conversation. So that's what they do. They'll say something stupid. They'll say something to try to insult me that is completely factually inaccurate. And they're not capable of having a conversation. And then they resort to that. Yeah. That is exactly the type of people that we are talking about, ladies and gentlemen. That is Donald Trump's base. They're bigots. They're stupid white people. That's what they are.
No, you're right. And you know what? Guys like him, I want to ask, let me ask reasonable minds, okay? Because the problem is when you speak to the MAGA base, it is not reasonable minds. There are no reasonable minds. Of course not. But when you look at reasonable minds, why does every show in America talk about Trump since the day he lost this election? Why? Because he was on trial every 32 seconds. Okay, there were people coming forward. There was continued cases. There was they tried to storm the Capitol. I mean, he creates the news cycle. He creates it because he wants to be in it. And guess what? I'm almost going to say we shouldn't follow him. I would like to see that, but you can't ignore it.
Of
okay,
course
you just can't ignore it.
But this is the thing, right?
But they're going to yell, "Why do you talk about him? Why do you?" Yeah. You have to talk about him because, and if you don't continue to remind people on a daily basis, how bad this guy is for our great country, then you're not doing your job.
You're not. But there are people that are not capable of having a conversation of any intelligence at all. Mm-hmm. And there are people that use their little Trump fingers, their little bigot Trump fingers, to call into a show. And they don't want to have any serious conversations.
No.
But this is Donald Trump's base. They're not capable of having serious conversations.
And isn't that, Brian, let's go back to something we had mentioned earlier. In a very calm moment.
Yep.
Isn't that what we need again in America?
Sure.
Don't we need this to just go away?
We need the John McCain, Barack Obama type conversation.
Don't we need it to go away? You know what? I would love to be able to tune into your show one day and just hear you talking about issues that matter to everyone.
Sure.
But instead, you and others in this industry are forced to talk about this guy ad nauseum.
Yeah.
Because if we don't, we're going to lose our country.
Agree. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Who do we have next? I believe we have Julio, who is next on PTL. All right, Julio, what's going on, my man?
Hey, congratulations on your response to the other guy. I tell you, I have been in the country 40-something years, and I have experienced both sides of the political rainbow.
Yep.
And I tell you, I cannot understand how people are so obtuse that they cannot see farther than their nose that they're being conned by somebody that has nothing to do with running a country, especially a country like the United States of America. I have said many times that even they're so blind that even if he goes and kills his wife and is coming out of the room with the bloody hands, they're gonna say, "What did she do to you?" You know, it's like they will find ways to elevate him as the next messiah? Is that what they're trying to do?
No question, Julio, and I agree with you, and you're 150% correct. And the problem with where we're at now, and Donald Trump said it himself. He told us years ago that I can shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and they'll still support me. They raise this guy up on a pedestal. They treat him like he's a god. Let me tell you something. We could be talking about Joe Biden or Donald Trump in this aspect. And, Nick, I think you'll agree with me on this. We shouldn't be looking at our politicians as gods.
No.
These are people that we vote for, okay? These are not entertainers. They're not supposed to be entertainers. These are not people that we should look up to like on a religious pillar of any magnitude. These are politicians. But yet that's why I called it a cult, and I will continue to call it a cult. That's the bottom line.
Brian, I think you nailed it with that. And that's what we have to remember. Look, we understand. Brian, did you know this? I'm not perfect, and you're not perfect. Did you know that?
Nobody's perfect.
Right. Okay? And Trump is a lot less perfect than most.
Sure.
Okay? He has been found guilty by a jury of his peers.
Yeah.
And they'll argue it's not his peers. But he's been found guilty. He's been found guilty in civil trials. And all you need to do, and Julio says it right, I mean, how can you can't cut off your nose to spite your face.
Yeah.
You can't do that. And that seems to be the mentality today, and it just needs to stop.
It does.
It has to stop.
It does.
And my hope, okay, in my, and I'm hoping this in such a, I can't tell you, but what I am hoping is one more defeat for this guy, and maybe the majority of the right will wake up enough to know we can't run on this platform anymore, and we have to get with the times and be honest with America and stop this charade.
No doubt. I agree. Well said. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to take a quick break. Before I do that, I want to talk to you guys about my favorite gaming bar in town, Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. Every Tuesday, you show your TAM card, you get $50 in free slot play. And every Thursday this month, they're giving out $1,500 in free gas cards. You have a chance to win a $100 free gas card, earn 200 points. You get in this electrical drum, so to speak. I'll probably be heading over to Jackson's today, actually. Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. Please check them out. Tell them I sent you. Great food, great atmosphere, and great people. When we come back, so a friend of mine, Adam Mockler, you've seen some of his videos on social media, 21-year-old Democrat. He has a run-in with the dude who's banging Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah, Brian Glenn. He's got great taste in women, by the way. It is an incredible exchange that they have, and it shows you what a dope this guy Brian Glenn is. I think he used to work for Newsmax, just a complete bozo. And he's not capable of having a debate with somebody that's like 40 years younger than him. It's really mesmerizing. So we'll play that when we come back. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yusufzai 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment and fees. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, where every kid gets a shot at the starting line. Just a reminder, our website is www.hockeyforkids.org.
Tired of the same old date night? Craving a deeper connection with your partner? O-Box is your escape into a world of romance and passion. Each month, discover a box filled with personalized surprises, exciting activities, and a love story written just for the two of you. Ignite desire, share laughter, and make memories that last a lifetime. Your O-Box journey accumulates into a beautiful love novel Ready to write the first thrilling chapter? Let the O-Box adventure begin. Visit our website, obox.com. That's OBOXXX.com and get started.
Did you know that 99% of air conditioning issues start with airflow issues? Well, guess what? Pioneer Air has your back. They've been operating for 20 years in the industry within the Las Vegas area, large enough to handle all your air conditioning and heating needs, but small enough to know your first name. Pioneer Air focuses on preventative care, much like wellness checks for humans. They believe in wellness checks for air conditioning and heating systems to extend the life of the system you own. So what are you waiting for? Schedule your wellness check with Pioneer Air today. The number to call is 702-831-4840. Here's the best news. Mention this ad and you'll receive 10% off. Call Pioneer Air today. 702-831-4840. That number again, 702-831-4840.
Dreamed of having your own radio show or a podcast, but just didn't think it was possible? Well, dreams can come true. Radio U. Radio U is a 5-day course that'll teach you how to acquire your dream show. We'll teach you how to host, how to write commercial, how to interview, how to market, how to write a contract, and most importantly, how to monetize your dream radio show. You'll learn from some of the best in the business with over 75 years in broadcast experience. You'll learn from people like me. And the best part? Every single student will be live on the radio as part of the class. Plus, one student from each class will get their very own radio show. You'll be live on the air right here in Las Vegas. Radio U. The 5-day course is being offered at $699. For more information, give Radio U a call, 702-763-5024. That's 702-763-5024. Or check them out at RadioYOU101.com.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Monday. Thank you so much for joining us. Big week this week for both Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Maybe even bigger for Joe Biden. The big debate is, of course, on Thursday. I'm still trying to figure out where I'm going to be watching it. I've had a couple of invites for a couple different watch parties. I haven't decided yet where I'm going to be watching it. But before we get back to the debate, Nick, friend of the show, love following Ron Filipkowski. And I always text him and thank him for the videos he puts up because it's just great material. And he just put out a great tweet that I want to read for you in regards to Donald Trump and the word rigged. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, let's go.
The debate, rigged. The 2020 election, rigged. The 2022 elections, rigged. The Academy Awards, rigged. Pulitzers, rigged. Trump University case, rigged. The E. Jean Carroll trial, rigged. Election lawsuits, all rigged. The criminal trial, rigged. The Rudy trial, rigged. The Steve Bannon and Navarro trials, rigged. The January 6th committee, rigged. The civil fraud trial, rigged. The polls, rigged. Everything is rigged.
He's right, though, isn't he?
Everything's rigged.
He's right.
Except when he won. When he wins, it's not. It's not rigged.
Yeah. Hey, I just found out that I have someone that was watching us online in Tennessee. He said definitely wouldn't vote for Trump. Not a big Biden fan. Wants to cast a vote for me. Can you get me in the debate?
Yeah.
Can you do that?
I will say this. No matter what people say about this debate, it's going to be probably the most watched debate in American history. I think we probably could both agree on that one, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, look, we've never had a sitting president versus, a former president.
Yeah.
And that's even hard to say. Yeah. I don't like that. But you've never had it happen. Why has it never happened? Because nobody's been as ridiculous and narcissistic as this guy. None.
I agree.
I mean, they usually go away quietly.
I agree. But, hey, we got to stop talking about Donald Trump. Why do we keep talking about Donald Trump?
I don't know.
So, speaking of which, I haven't really brought up three-toe Marjorie Taylor Greene very often.
Three-toe.
But apparently a dude that she's banging, his name is Brian Glenn, used to work for Newsmax. They both seem to have the same levels of intelligence.
How's Brian's CNI dog, Brian Glenn's?
That's a good question. I don't know. That's a very good question. So Brian Glenn, he was doing, I guess he has his own network now, or it's starting up. I have no idea. But this guy couldn't be more of a right-wing buffoon. And he's doing like some sort of reporting on this Trump event. And a kid by the name of, and I say kid because I'm so old, I'm 44, he's 21, but Adam Mockler does a great job in interviewing these maggots. And Adam Mockler had a run-in with Brian Glenn. And Glenn agrees to talk to him, but the interview didn't go very long because Brian Glenn was getting destroyed with facts about the 34-count felon Donald Trump. And then you have some of Brian Glenn's unintelligent clan next to him that were trying to intimidate Adam Mockler as he's doing this interview. And Brian Glenn is walking away from him because he doesn't, these Trumpers, they don't want to actually engage in real conversations. So have a listen to this kind of run-in that Mockler has with Brian Glenn. And by the way, Mockler's going to be coming on later this week to talk about this, but it's mesmerizing. Keep in mind, this is the guy who's is intimate with Marjorie Taylor Greene if you seriously want to throw up in your mouth. So anyway, this is Brian Glenn and Adam Mockler. Have a listen to this.
Do you think Donald Trump, when he was convicted on all 34 counts, what did you think about that? Because that was
to me, Matt. And none of those 34 counts is worthless. You got a worthless case. You got a case from the FEC.
Why is it worthless?
It's worthless because there was no crime that was committed.
Falsifying business records with the intent of covering up another crime.
But
Michael Cohen went.
That's what they said. That's what you say.
That's what the jury said. The jury handpicked by Donald Trump's lawyers.
I know exactly what you're all about right now. You're not an independent journalist. You're nothing but a Trump hater, and you're out here trying to get everybody to be tripped up. Let me ask you a question. Who thinks these 34 indictments are worth a piece of crap?
You know what?
They're all worthless. You know that. You know that. You know that. You know that.
What, the 34?
The 34 indictments are worthless.
You're saying that our entire... Wait, let me finish.
It comes down to one question. Let me ask you a question. Would you rather have Joe Biden in the White House for another 4 years?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
President Biden's been...
Interview over. Interview over. Okay. I don't want to talk to anybody that has any... You have zero common sense.
You're undermining our entire justice system when you say this jury...
your ability to, elect the next president that's competent.
I'm sorry, I don't want the dude that made his supporters attack the Capitol. I don't want the dude that...
the supporters attack the Capitol.
His rhetoric directly...
He said peacefully walk to the Capitol.
He said fight. He said Mike Pence didn't do it.
Me again, but don't touch me. Don't touch me, my dog.
Dude,
don't touch me.
You're getting in front of my way.
Don't touch me out here. I'm just telling you that. I got a question. Don't touch me, my boy.
Don't do that.
If you worried about 34, you're going to worry about 34 ass whoopings in a minute, boy.
Don't follow that rally. Don't bring that bullshit over here. Don't bring that bullshit over here.
So there you go. A big shocker there that some of Brian Glenn's fluffers are threatening violence to this guy, Adam Mockler. And all this guy Mockler's trying to do is do an interview. And you notice when everything that Mockler brings to the table are factual, fact-based arguments, what does this guy do, Brian Glenn, because he doesn't have the intelligence to have a debate with a 21-year-old? He looks at some of these Trump supporters decked out in all this Trump gear. One of those guys says he's Trump's nephew. He's a failed rapper, a failed white rapper who now riddles Trump lyrics. And, there's a lot of the same idiots that are buying the Trump Bibles, I guess, are buying this guy's music. And he's trying to intimidate Adam Mockler. And don't touch me, my dog. All Mockler was trying to do was get him out of the way because he was writing a shot. And this guy, Brian Glenn, doesn't have any of intelligence or mental fortitude to even have a rational conversation, even if you disagree, to have a rational conversation with a 21-year-old. Instead, he points to those moron MAGA supporters out there, the Klan. What do you guys think about these 34 counts? And somehow they go, yeah, you're right. Somehow he wins his argument because of that. What did you make of that exchange? It's mesmerizing.
Does anything surprise us anymore? I mean, look, we could do this until we're blue, all right? And in your case, red and about to pop, okay? But we could do this till we're blue, out of our last breath, okay? MAGA is never going to wake up. They don't get it.
They're unwoke.
They're unwoke. There you go. They're unwoke. They're zombie. They're the zombie apocalypse. I don't know what they are. But literally, look, let's be honest. They would walk off the cliff if the Pied Piper took them there. They would. They wouldn't care. But in that exchange, again, you mentioned in the tweet that you liked earlier, rigged. Yep. You mentioned that tweet.
Yep.
He said, worthless. It was worthless. What was worthless? A jury found him guilty, okay? And he said it was a peaceful walk into the Capitol. Peaceful? I mean, sure, I'll bring a picnic basket next time with Boo Boo, the bear, and we're going to go sit while you peacefully walk into the Capitol. Give me a break.
And this guy can't even spell the word journalist. He was on Newsmax. You want to talk about the knee pad Trump wearing fools? This guy. What do you think in a conversation, a private conversation, is like between Brian Glenn and Marjorie Taylor Greene about politics?
I mean,
in the privacy of their own home when they're having a romantic dinner together. Which
You've already done this with Trump and made me want to throw up. I could not stomach even thinking about a sexual encounter with Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's.
How do you think Brian Glenn asked Marjorie Taylor Greene out on a date? How do you think he coerced her back to his home? Like, do you think he took her to a Beetlejuice play? What do you think happened?
He took a snossage from his dog. Here, girl. Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. I mean,
can you imagine? I mean,
no. Look. She's a human being, okay?
Barely.
And without stooping to their level, okay. First off, obviously, this guy doesn't care about intelligence at all.
No. Well, I don't think he's very intelligent himself.
That's my
so,
point,
yeah.
okay? As they say, birds of a feather flock together, right? Isn't that what they say?
Yes.
Obviously, that is true here in major ways, but it just, how this is part of what has happened to America. He has spawned this entire industry for idiots like Brian Glenn.
You're right.
He has allowed Marjorie Taylor Greene to stay in Congress. He's just done it all. I can't even stop that. Now I'm going to get red.
That's okay.
Where's the blood pressure?
Take a deep breath. Speaking of unintelligent idiots, I had to play this clip for you because it's so mesmerizing. Beetlejuice 2.0, Lauren Boebert.
Hold on. Don't talk bad about Beetlejuice. I like the movie. Don't use that.
I love the movie, and the play I heard is very good.
Okay.
I don't know how good it is if Lauren Boebert's sitting next to you. It's probably better for some people if she's performing sexual favors in public.
Maybe she's like the two legs sitting next to Beetlejuice that they wait to go.
You cannot make this stuff up. Lauren Boebert is talking about the 10 Commandments in this clip. And she's talking about law and order, and it's so ironic, and I'll get to that after you hear the clip. But let's listen to Lauren Boebert, the very eloquent, intelligent Lauren Boebert, talking about the 10 Commandments. Have a listen to this.
So I don't think that it's bad to have something that says honor your father and mother so that you will live a long life. That is the first commandment that has a promise attached to it. I don't think that it's bad to teach children that adultery is something that you should not do. And also listed in the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not steal. And maybe the left and some of these politicians are having a meltdown over having that right there listed in our classrooms, thou shalt not steal, is because government hates competition and they don't want our children to realize that that's something you shouldn't be doing.
So let me comment on that and first say Lauren Boebert appears as though she wants children to be taught to not steal. I think most people would find that very, nothing wrong with that at all. Yeah, let's teach our children not to steal. Well, it's interesting that Beetlejuice Boebert is talking about that, because her own son is facing 22 theft-related charges. By the way, I also add that Lauren Boebert took the time to go to New York City to stand behind her lover boy, Orange Turd Donald Trump, when he was on trial, but yet she didn't show up at her own son's court hearing. I find that very, very good mothering, by the way. So is there anybody that we'd like to hear speak about maybe children stealing things maybe other than Lauren Boebert when her own child is facing serious charges? I do find that very interesting. That'd be like if Lauren Boebert went to some restaurants and talked about health code, because she cares about the customers not getting sick, when her own restaurant that she ran with her ex-husband got people food poisoning. To me, it's like the exact same thing.
Yeah, and Brian, I'm trying to refresh myself on the 10 Commandments here. I kind of pulled them up.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to look at them. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife. Her leader did that on numerous occasions.
Very
right?
true.
Okay.
Very, very true.
All right, that's there. You shall not covet your neighbor's goods. He still wants the White House.
It's true.
Because he thinks it's his and not Joe Biden's.
Yeah, and then Melania will replace those toilets with golden toilets, yes.
All right.
Yeah.
You shall not steal. Trump University, cases in New York. I'm just saying, I'm just going, so there's 3.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. I want to see what else. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. All he does is lie about the present administration. So I mean, I've only touched a few.
Like halfway through, yeah.
Okay, I've only gotten to 4, and he's 4 for 4. Heck, he'd be in the Hall of Fame at 4 for 4.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just.
Is there anything on there that says thou shall not cheat on the golf course? That's important to
no,
me.
it does. It does
okay.
say you shall not cheat on your diet. Do not eat McDonald's. No, that's not it. It just, oh Lord. I mean, I guess honor your father. Does he honor his father and mother? I don't know. Does he? Kinda.
I don't know what there'd be to honor, quite frankly. But
You shall not kill. He sent people to maim, if you will, those in the Capitol. I mean, they didn't kill, but they came close.
Well, some people did die that day.
Yes, they did. I'm sorry. I'm
and,
mistaken.
People did die that day, and a few, sadly, Capitol police officers committed suicide. And that was a very embarrassing day for the country. Donald Trump knew exactly what he was doing, and if you want to make the claim that he didn't incite and it's not his fault, then why was he sitting on his ass in the White House for 5 hours doing nothing?
Well, and that's exact, and again, listen, sometimes in life, all right, we sometimes you just have to believe your eyes, don't you? Yeah. I mean, any reasonable, and here's the key word, reasonable, and that's the problem. MAGA is not reasonable. But a reasonable person, when you see things with your eyes, have to make the judgment that, okay, he did it, or he's part of it, or whatever. And it doesn't matter if it's a president's actions or if it's Brian Shapiro. I know you've never done, if you had done something wrong, or if Nick Bonsetto did something wrong. I mean, when your eyes see it, to ignore your eyes, it just goes against I mean, we're supposed to be an intelligent being.
Supposed to be.
I did say supposed to. I'm glad you caught that. Supposed to be an intelligent being, right? We're supposed to be the smartest race in this great universe of ours, right? We are supposed to be the superior being. MAGA, you fall so short. I still would like to know, can't we just like take an island somewhere and put them all there, let Trump rule the island and take all his people with him and create what he wants to create?
Well, apparently he was on the Epstein Island, so maybe he could take over that island. He was on that flight list 7 times, according to in the Maxwell trial. But it's interesting, one person that was never seen on that list, Joe Biden.
Never.
But Trump was on that list 7 times. I do find that interesting. I mean, they call Joe Biden a pedophile because he hugs a young girl, God forbid. But yet Donald Trump, the liable sexual abuser, oh no, he didn't do anything wrong. It was all rigged.
It was. And I make no bones about it. I'm a Joe Biden fan. I know even people that are going to vote for him are not necessarily staunch fans of Joe Biden. Right. I am. I will make no bones about that. I am. I like the man. In his 2020 run, I was a precinct captain for him in the caucuses. I have met with him. Matter of fact, I just showed you pictures, that I have with him. I get the Christmas card from the White House. I mean, all of those things. I really like the man. I liked him before he ran because, as I told you, I had the privilege to interview him when he was a senator.
Right.
I did. Way back. I mean, I'm talking probably early 90s when I interviewed him. Yep. He's a good man.
Yeah, I've always said I think he's a decent man.
He's a good man. And my eyes and everyone's eyes should see he's a good man. Okay, his son had a problem.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, yes.
And is facing the consequences.
And he's facing and he did not.
Not attacking the judge, not attacking the jury.
He did not interfere with the process.
No.
His own man in charge brought the charges, right? He appointed Merrick Garland. I mean, they said, okay, we're going after this.
You're absolutely
right.
And
he did not get in the way. Trump has gotten in the way with every case that has come against his people and himself. Every one.
No question.
My
Nick.
eyes can see the truth.
Oh,
yours should as well.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that cannot, and they are complicit, and they believe everything that Donald Trump says. But, Nick, I do appreciate you being here. It's been a fun show, and we got to do this more on a regular basis.
Yeah, I'll absolutely. This isn't bad.
I enjoyed it. And thanks to Joe Walsh for joining us as well. I want to tell everyone to please check out my new website. I'm very excited about it. We make changes to it almost on a daily basis. We're going to have some new merchandise up there, but just check it out. Let me know what you think. You don't have to buy anything. If you'd like to, that'd be great, but you don't have to. If you want to donate, you can. You don't have to. Just check out the website. It's pushingthelimits.live. Again, pushingthelimits.live, just as it's spelled, as it sounds. And check it out. Sign up for the free newsletter. As I said, we got some merchandise up there. You can donate. We are independently owned, and I certainly appreciate your support. Also, check out Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. Every Tuesday, you show your TAM card. This is a really cool promotion, and you get $50 in free slot play, which is pretty darn cool. You can do that. And on Thursdays this week, they give out $1,500 in free gas cards, $100 gift cards, 15 of them they give away every Thursday. Some of the best promotions in town and my favorite gaming bar in town. Jackson's Bar and Grill, Flamingo and Jones. Please check them out. Tell them that I sent you. Again, Nick, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And I appreciate all of you. And we will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a great day, everybody.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to